Jeff Miller was there. He gets paid to cover it for the LA Times. That's combat pay, man. Jeff joining us now. If I didn't watch it, how would you describe what happened last night?
If you didn't watch it, first off, congratulations. You made the right decision. That was an absolute abomination. It was an embarrassment. I've been doing this almost 40 years, Dan. I don't know that I've ever seen a team perform more poorly than that. It was just the word's embarrassment. And the players openly talked about it after the game. They were embarrassed. They know it. They know what they did was just unacceptable.
We already knew Brandon Staley's job was, already in jeopardy there. But could the Chargers, why would the Chargers keep him for the rest of the regular season?
Tradition, frankly. This is not a franchise that typically lets go of coaches in the middle of a season or during a season. So really, that's about the only reason I can think of, the most solid reason why they wouldn't do it. Another one is there isn't a clear former head coach or somebody on the staff who they could just turn things over to and say, hey, get us through the last 3 weeks here. And, and thanks for your efforts, because they don't have anybody like that. I mean, Kellen Moore is a guy who maybe could be a head coach, but really on the staff there isn't that, senior advisor type, Jason Garrett type, somebody who would be on the staff who they could turn to and say, okay, just get us through the end of this, please.
I was wondering, and you don't use the word quit, but man, it felt like there were some guys last night who did not want to be there. You get that sense when you went into the locker room?
Yeah, and I don't know so much it was just, these guys gave up and they just surrendered. They've been through, this has been a rough year. The expectations of weight on these guys going back to training camp. And I think more than just, hey, this is an indictment on the character of some of these players. I think it was just, these guys are human and they know where this is going. I mean, they know as well as those of us who are on the team that this was probably going to get blown up. And that's, and so I think when you have back-to-back turnovers, consecutive offensive plays where you turn the ball over and the other team goes down and scores, I think it was just natural at one point during that game, everybody was going to say, hey, this is over. What are we doing here? This is just a nightmare. So I think probably there was some of that, but I think honestly, in my opinion, it was more of that than, these guys are bad, bad character guys, or they just gave up.
How desirable is this job?
Well, it's, it starts with Justin Herbert. That's the biggest thing. That's the one thing you've got. If you get this job, you don't have to worry about the quarterback. So that makes it very desirable. Now, where they falls a little bit short is, this is not a team we all know has never won anything. The ownership is, there's been questions about that. They don't have a ton of cash. They have to do some financial gymnastics at times to make things work, but all NFL teams figure it out, and the GM here will figure it out, whoever it is. But I think it's desirable just because of Justin Herbert. And the one thing is that the Spanos is they'll spend money, they'll invest in guys. We've seen it, so it's not like they're cheap that way. It's just they don't have the cash to do some of the things that especially in-season things that some teams can do.
What's the fan interest? I've been in LA now a couple of years, but have they been embraced? There's so much competition in town, but how would you rank that fan base? Are they angry? Are they passionate? Where they're calling for change here?
The Charger fans, the real fans, they're very passionate. The problem is there's just not a ton of them, but they were chanting for Staley to get fired last home game, so they'll make some noise, and there's people, trust me, all you got to do is go on social media, and there's a lot of venom and a lot of anger out there. It's just that there's not a ton of them. And the fact that this team has never won anything, from the national perspective, I don't think you get much attention. And there's not, fans around the country don't really care that much about the Chargers because they never win. They're never relevant. So I would say, though, in this market, I'm not going to say embraced. I mean, other than the Dodgers and Lakers, and when USC football is good, I don't, everybody struggles to show up on the radar. But there's the Charger fans that are passionate. I mean, there's believe me, there's some that are. I get emails. I get this thing blows up when they or text messages and DMs, and there's a lot of anger this morning. Believe me.
Would you rather be a Charger fan today or an Angels fan today?
Oh wow, see that's interesting because I covered both these teams, so I know both of them pretty well. I'd rather be a Charger fan just because of Justin Herbert and the fact that they're rarely boring. The Angels can be boring. The Chargers generally aren't. I think Chargers are more entertaining, and sometimes it's in a terrible way, but they are more entertaining. So I would go. I'm going to go with the Chargers.
Great to talk to you, Jeff. Thanks for joining us.
All right, Dan. Anytime. Thank you.
That's Jeff Miller. He covers the Chargers for the LA Times. How about that? He gets the Angels and the Chargers. Yay! How's morale?